And welcome back to the show. This might be the first video that goes live on the new YouTube channel. Oh, I clicked. Okay, nope. Yep, there it is. Okay, had to bring my monitor screen up there back to life. Even though I'm probably not going to look at it much. Been here contemplating about what I wanted to talk about this evening on the solo episode. Because throughout the week, usually I take notes, and this week I was off a little bit. But usually there's things that pop up, on my feed or in my mind during a discussion or something. I'm like, ooh, that would be a good thing to talk about, either with someone or just solo, and just kind of, spitball my thoughts out there to the world. Sorry, I'm moving a lot. I'm trying to get the perfect setup where I feel comfortable looking at the camera or not. Hey, there's a new YouTube channel. All right. Bravo Zulu. Check it out. Just go hit YouTube, Bravo Zulu, subscribe, like, turn on the bell for notifications, and, look for future episodes to be up on there as well. So, something that, an old shipmate had posted something that I felt inclined to comment on. And if you're listening, you know who you are. And it was an exchange between them about, this person is doing well for themselves. They got a commissioning a couple of years ago after being a deck seaman. And they're doing well for themselves. Very proud of that person. And they're sharing their journey on their Facebook, their timeline. So you do whatever the fuck you want on that, right? You don't like it. If you're someone that doesn't like what someone's sharing, see yourself off their shit, right? So this person shared something that someone DM'd them, of course, not liking it, wanting to express their dislike for it and whatever. I won't get into the details of what they said and whatnot. But, the main concept that I wanted to grab from that was like, what is wealth? Right? A lot of people talk about being successful, being rich in a monetary kind of fashion, being wealthy. And, I'll sit here and ask, like, what does wealth mean to you? Right? And, it's a popular saying out there, health is wealth. And it is very much so, right? If you're healthy, you can live longer, hopefully. And pending, no tragedies or nothing, but you're better prepared physically to last longer. So that, health is one way to be wealthy. But what do the wealthy, right? The wealthy of right now today, what measurement do they use to measure their wealth? And many would think about, their bank accounts. If you think about Jeff Bezos, what do you immediately think of? Billionaire, like huge billionaire. Elon Musk, huge billionaire. Bill Gates, Berkshire Hathaway guy, I forget his name, Warren Buffett, there it is. Billionaires, plenty of money to do whatever they want. But I think a lot of people know this. I hope it's not like I'm not saying nothing new that you don't know, but something that money buys you, which is the most important, to me, in my opinion, measurement of wealth is time, right? When you're that wealthy monetarily, you can buy time, right? People are trying to buy your time. So you can do whatever you want, right? With your time. You got the money to do so. And that's a way we can measure it also, right? Health, time, money, right? What's the bank account say? All these different things you could do. So first, in the comments, let me know how you measure your wealth, right? What's the measuring stick you're using? For me, right now, I can't say I honestly know what it is. For sure, it's like bank account, because bills need to get paid, right? Healthy wise, yeah, I'm a few 10, 20, 30, probably, according to today's medical standards, probably a good like 50. Yeah, good 50 lbs over what health would be to be wealthy, if I keep it 100 here. But, the bills got to be paid, so we got to keep working and stuff. Now, in the future, and this leads me into the second thing of kind of, eye twitching, is in the future, how, of course, I want that time to be my measurement, right? How do I get that time to be my measurement, though? Because right now it isn't. I cannot measure my wealth by time right now. Why? Because my time is all taken up by the Navy, right? Contractually obligated, voluntarily, obligation to fulfill that contract. And that takes up most of my time and energy and everything else that goes with it. And that's a conversation I often have with other friends. Excuse me. So, in the future, though, and this is something I talk to my wife about a lot, right? And if you know me, a lot of you do, something I always talk about in the future is being a stay-at-home dad. Right? Is we're making plans where in 5 years where I could retire, right? Where hopefully it all pans out and I'm a stay-at-home dad. And that's going to come with some sacrifice, right? Because now that income is going to be lower. It's going to be just my retirement and Nikki's salary, and the income is going to be lower. So there's going to have to be some sacrifices in there because bottom line, there won't be as much money, but I'll have so much more time to spend with the kids, time to spend with my wife. By that time, they'll be school age. So on Nikki's days off where they're in school, where we could both take them to school, I can take her on a date in the middle of the day at noon, grabbing lunch, catching a movie, going for some exercise, a run, a walk, a hike, whatever it might be, right? And still be back in time to spend or to pick up the kids. They don't even know what we do, but it's Friday, so we get them a chicken nugget Happy Meal, and we go home and we start the party with the kids. How great is that? And that's the time that I want for my family in the future. Right now, though, it's just not possible, right? So then that, goes to another question I often ask people, or that's kind of a lie, right? Like, I don't often ask people, because that's just a way to say it. But one that I ask some people, and that I always think when I'm talking to people, right? Because as we're in the military, there's that work-life balance often gets talked about, right? Oh, you got to keep a good work-life balance. You got to manage this, got to manage that. And it's hard, right? A lot of people will tell you it's super hard. I think some people do really good about it. I think certain situations are more built for it. I'll tell you straight up. I believe if you are a male, right, serving, and your wife or spouse is at home, not employed, taking care of the home situation, I think it's a lot easier to keep a work-life balance because it's only you doing the 50-50, right? Or whatever it is, right? It's only you balancing. You get to come home and, hopefully shut down the work mode and go into, dad mode or husband mode, whatever, right? You get to go into that mode. And hopefully for your spouse, they can shut down like maybe the caretaking mode of children and shift a little bit to more of the caretaking or, giver and lover, role as a spouse to the serving spouse. But when you're in that dual, especially if you're mill to mill, I would say, one, I don't think it's as easy to turn it off, right? That's always a struggle no matter what, to turn off that workflow. Two, then to come home and turn on a different role, right? And be a different kind of person. And then also when you're trying to match schedules, right? I know, for me and Nikki, it's something we've always worked through. Not struggle because her routine, especially since she's gotten out, her schedule has been very, very solid. So it's very easy to schedule around and make things happen. But I'm more just on like the regular of like, oh, when the duty day is and what day do I get off, what holidays. If you look, most of you have started listening, you know how that goes, right? It goes without me having to go into detail and saying it. But when you're that mill to mill or both working, let me know. I think it's a lot harder, right? Both of you have to come home. Both of you have to shut it off. And both of you might not have had a great day at work. Both of you might have been at the level 10 all the way maxed out at work. And when you both get home, you both want to completely shut it off, right? You don't want to be mom and dad. You don't want to be, and I don't mean like neglect your kids. I'm just saying you're looking at the other one like, yo, can you bath them tonight? And that one's looking at you like, no, my day was shitty. I need you to bath them tonight. And then you guys are both there, doing one of those looking back and forth at each other, right? And, hopefully you figure it out and your kids get bathed and don't smell like the dirty kid at school. But, so I usually sit there and I think about when someone, and it's something that happens now around this time in the career, right? 16 years in as a chief. There's not a lot of, at least where I'm at, but not a lot of first classes that are senior like that. They're junior-ish. Excuse me, getting late here. But where the conversation of retirement, and that's something I've talked about a lot on this podcast because I think it needs to be talked about more and more and more in those journeys there. But the conversation about retirement starts happening more and more now, right? At that 16, 17, 18 years, working towards that. And I'm tripping because my autofocus looked like it not working or something. Anyways, so when you're having those conversations and then you get someone chief or above, whatever, right? Someone in khakis that's saying like, oh yeah, I'm about to re-enlist. And you're like, oh shit, how long you been in? As a curious question. And they're like, oh, I've been in 19. And you think, damn, I think, not you, but I think you're at 19, you about to re-enlist. Okay, so what's the move? Like, I always think like, I want to know what your game plan is so I can just have an understanding of it, because maybe there's something that I'm missing that you can tell me right now that I could throw into my game plan, because I'm at 16, I'm not re-enlisting again, but I want to know like what's making you go there. And for today in 2021, last year 2020 made a lot of people re-enlist, extend, stay longer, because the uncertainty that was out there was real, right? And that's totally understandable. But then you could even go to one of them old, crusty guys and be like, why are you still here? I asked the Smash Chief I worked for before. He should be retired now or coming up on it, terminal leave or something. I asked him last year. He'd extended through the COVID stuff. I said, hey man, why did you keep doing it? He's about to hit 30 now, right? I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was a solid Mass Chief, taught me a lot. I said, why'd you keep doing it? Like for 10 plus years, right? And I don't know what rank he was. He was a chief, but I don't know senior chief or what exactly, or for how long, for that matter, that he was when he was at 20, or what his family situation was, or any of that. But, I asked him why did he keep going, and would he keep going? Like, if they gave him the option to continue to go, would he continue to go? And, his answer to me was like, yeah, of course. Why not? And I was like, well, your family, number one. And, for him, his children were older, high school or college or approaching that area. So one could say at that time, he'd already missed out. Again, don't know his family situation. I'm just saying one could say that he'd already missed out on so much, and they're about to go be adults in college or something. What else? I mean, if there's any damage done or any daddy issues, they're already in place, right? That's chalked. That's there, right? So why not keep going? And then, he didn't say that. I'm speculating here, right? And another part, though, is, he told me that he already knows how to navigate the game that is the Navy, right? He's been doing it so long. He's good at it. He knows how it works. What does it matter after 20 years? Especially at his level of being a Master Chief. Now he's gained certain perks of not standing those duties, not being in a duty section, more than likely being on a carrier and getting even better perks of, better dining facilities and their little special, maybe their special 9 breakfast table or something. First off the ship for Liberty, off the, 9 and above brow, or however it works on a carrier, right? I've always done small ships, you get 1 brow. That's it. Okay. But, there's those perks, and he recognizes those. And for him, it started outweighing some of the other stuff, right? It's become very easy for him to do. So why not keep doing it? And that's cool. It's an honest, it was an honest answer. I appreciated it. And if you remember, a couple episodes back when I had CJ on for the second time, he shared a similar story when he asked somebody why they do it, and that person gave this, gesturing of a impact, hoping it would impact CJ some way or something. Go back and listen to it, and saying he did it for those sailors and stuff. And that's just one of those ones. Like, are you really? Because you're getting paid to do this. You know what I mean? And many would hate to be like, well, no, if you're not doing it for the sailors, then you need to retire. Yes, you do. And that's not to say that I'm not doing it for the sailors, but I've recognized where my end is for that service, right? Because they always talk about being that servant leader and stuff. And that's fine. That's great. You should be. But I think a lot of people don't recognize where their personal end is, and they start, well, it is easy. I know how the game works, and this isn't talking about that specific person, and it's no longer about the servant leadership part of it. It's just about that I know how to do this. I'm comfortable doing it. I'm just going to keep doing it. And then you might run into maybe bad leadership. I don't know. You tell me. Let me know in the comments on the YouTube channel. Bravo Zulu YouTube channel. Go check it out, right? Let me know your experience with it. So then, the other flip side of that is, what makes you keep going. And really, can you, I don't know, you let me know again. What's a good answer for that? Is it's easy. I know how it works. It pays. Is that a good answer for keeping going? A better answer would be like, continuing to develop the sailors, the next generation. That's a great answer, but how honest and truthful is it to yourself and to those sailors? If you're the leader giving that answer, and your sailors were polled throughout your career or something, would you get great feedback from all of them, or from a high 9 out of 10? 8 out of 10, 7 out of 6, 5 out of 10, only 50% are saying, hey, yeah, he's a great, or she is a great leader, and yep, they should keep going, and that could get into the whole new eval system that might be coming out, allegedly, all that. And then, we could flip that though, right? And we could start asking people, what makes you want to retire? Because people ask me that now, right? Leadership. When I tell them, I want to retire, and they're like, why? You're a chief now. Excuse me. And I don't believe a certain rank should make you want to stay in longer. Right? We get that frogging letter, and it says those things about, shit, I can't quote it. You know what it says. Right? Like you should be ready to go forth and do more, the new responsibility, and, it's supposed to reinvigorate you, especially after you re-enlist and maybe you put on rank, you're just like, yeah, I'm here now. Let's go. Let's get after it. And that's awesome. But how long does that last for? A year, 6 months, 5 years, your whole re-enlistment, your whole career? Awesome. That's how it should be. But again, what's making you want to retire? If you're not realizing when your end is, then you might be just blowing past it, or might not be being real with yourself, right? I know that my end is at this enlistment, right? After this enlistment, it's my end. I knew it, and people ask me why. I have 2 children now, right? I knew it as soon as my son was born, and I've had friends tell me this, that I've known a long time, my whole career. As soon as my son was born, I knew I was done. And people would say, Well, you just put on chief, so you're quitting as soon as you put on chief. I didn't say I'm quitting. I knew that my end date, I knew when I wanted that to be, and it was as close to 20 years as possible. Depending how things panned out and this and that, right, as far as timelines go, I knew that's what I wanted for myself. And others might say, as soon as they had children, they knew they needed to keep going because they needed to keep providing. And that's awesome too. You got to do what you got to do, right? Got to put, baby milk out there for the kids, right? Baby food and all that. But for myself, like, I knew I wanted to retire once, Michael was born. Especially once Penelope, even more so when Penelope was born. And it hasn't stopped. And I think it's only grown stronger as I see changes being made. And good changes, good changes, not all bad changes, but I think it's one of those, like, when you can no longer understand the changes or the process or reasons behind the changes, when you can no longer understand them, or you can no longer, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe, maybe bluntly, you don't want to, right? You don't want to have to be like, okay, let's go through this, let's read this, and let's make sense of it. Because oftentimes that's what we do, right? We see a change, it comes out or something, and we as chiefs or boardroom leadership, we have to make sense of it. And we have to make sense of it because we as chiefs especially are charged to deliver it to the sailor, right? And be that deck plate leader. Hey, this is the change, this is what's going on, this is what we got to do. We got to go do it. Let's go. And that's cool. Let's go do that. I'm down for it. It's good. But it becomes, when it becomes more and more difficult to sit there and be like, oh, you're scratching your head, you're rubbing your brow, and you're like, all right, hold on, man. What are we doing here? I don't get it. I'm not sure what's being said. I don't know what this means. I think it is. I think that. I don't agree. I do kind of agree. But now I have to figure out some kind of way to portray that I'm 100% behind it, right? And deliver it to my sailors. When sailors nowadays are so smart and they know when you're bullshitting and they can know, and I ain't even gonna say it was just today. I'm sure it was the same since forever, right? I'm messing with the camera. Sorry. I should stop. But they can tell when their leadership isn't totally behind something, right? And if you're a leader and you're giving that off, that you're not totally behind something, maybe it's time to go. I don't know. I'm struggling, right? Is it? You tell me. Look through it and evaluate yourself. And that's all I'm saying is I've evaluated myself. Once my kids were born, done. And every day and every week and every new some bullshit or something, I look at it and I was like, yeah, I think it's time. And not right now. I still got a job to do. I'm still out there doing it. It's going to get done. But it reaffirms that I'm going to make the right decision in 5 years and retire. Now, between now and then, things could change, and I don't think they're going to change my opinion on me wanting to retire. I got the full backing of my family. They're not, I guess, let's talk about that too. I think something else that happens, the spouses at home tell their spouse, you can't retire. You need to go to another duty station. You need to go back to sea. You need to go do this, right? What about that? That's a lot of pressure right there, right? If you have a spouse, doesn't matter if your spouse is whatever. You have a spouse and they're telling you, hey, no, you can't retire. You need to go back to work. You need to do another tour. You need to go back. Think about if they're telling you you need to go back to sea when you're already coming off of sea duty. Why? Do they not want to be around you? Is your financial burden so much that you cannot take the, quote unquote, pay cut of a $700, $600 sea pay? Did you build your life and your way of life around all of these, what do you call them? Not base pay, but all the other pays, right? All the extra pays. So when you only get base pay, you can't sustain. I'd say that's a problem. You might want to see your command financial specialist. All right. We'll put a plug in for that. Right. Live within your means, where when you go to shore duty, you're not missing $600 of base pay, right? It's going to offset because you're going to get your BAS back instead of paying it to the ship. So you're missing $300. It is a lot for some families. It should not make or break a military family. Not at the chief level and above, right? A junior family, they're not even getting that much in CPA to begin with. So they might end up making more money being on the shore duty, getting their BAS, than their $200, $150 in CPA. You know what I'm saying? So really, you could crunch all those numbers and figure it out, people. But again, hey, I'm not knocking what you have to do. All right, you have to do it. You have to provide for your family. You got to take care of your house. I'm going to take care of what's in my house. I'm just sharing these things so you could think about it if you're out there thinking about what you should do. Well, you might want to make a checklist. Take a piece of paper, fold it in half, right? On one side, pros. On the other side, cons. What's a pro of staying in? What's a con of staying in? And then on page number 2, you do another pro and con. And one could be staying in, one could be getting out, retiring, right? Or not even retiring. Let's just talk about getting out. First-term sailor, second-term sailor, whatever it is. What's your pros and cons? What do you have lined up? As the chief in me likes to say, what's your plan? Whatever your plan is, write it down. Figure it out, right? And then with that loop back around to, which one is going to make you the wealthiest, right? That's what we started with. That wealth, is staying in the Navy 20, 30 years and you want your wealth to be health. Is that going to be the best option? Maybe great medical, benefits and disability coverages and stuff like that, but you're going to be broken to some degree in there somewhere. So is that the best? Or is getting out and saving that health and saving your knees and your back? And you can see all these gray hairs in my chin. Is getting out going to be the healthiest thing leading you to more wealth? Is staying in and doing 30 years and getting 75% retirement and then going and getting a GS job at a GS 12, 13, 14 position, right? Going to allow you the best income availability. And now, since the income is covered, you can buy more time to spend with your family, right? There's that option. There's a lot of ways you could play this game, people. A lot of ways. If you're retired, congratulations. Thank you for your service. If you're young in your career, are you planning it out? Are you planning it out 5 years, 10 years at a time? Right? Are you making the move today for the move tomorrow and in 3 to 5 years to get out or to be ready to get out? Can you get out at any time and have the savings and have the certifications and education to be successful? Right? Or are you just kind of doing this day to day, month, year, enlistment to enlistment, and then you're unprepared altogether? And, next thing you know is 20 years and you don't know what you're doing or how you're going to do it. Right? And you're mad at the world because you didn't pick up the next rank, whatever it might be. And they're telling you, hey, you put in your papers, you have to retire unprepared. I don't know. There's a buddy of mine. He retired last year, right? Yeah. And it was so cool to watch him retire because he was all the way ready. He lived here, in San Diego, and he had his plan. It was during COVID, and during this time, COVID, Navy had said, hey, if you're retiring, you could extend 3 months, 6 months. We'll let you stick around, figure it out. It was a very good deal, right? People needed it. I asked him, I was like, hey, you going to take that? I mean, stick around. You're not doing much here at work. You could just hang out and collect this paycheck. He's like, no, I'm done. He had everything planned out with his family, ready to go. House already pending sale. Family moved to the next location. He was completely ready. And so one Friday, he left the office and haven't seen him since. He don't live here locally. Seen him on Facebook, I think. But, and he, poof, he was gone. Vanished into the next chapter, and I what's the word? Respected that, proud of it. Envy isn't the right word, but it's a word like that. I need to get out my thesaurus here. I look up to it because he was all the way ready. And even in the hardest of times that 2020 was, he was ready to execute his plan, and he did it. And, he's out there doing his thing, and they're making it work. And I'm happy for him. Super happy for him. Anyways, I think that's all I got for you tonight. Just something to think about, in this roundabout, way of talking about how do you think of your wealth as an active duty or retired member. As an active duty, how are you going to achieve your wealth in retirement or in post-service life? As a retiree, how are you achieving your wealth as that retiree, right? And are you happy with your decisions? Again, this is the first video going on YouTube. So again, Bravo Zulu, look it up on YouTube, go subscribe, turn on the notification bell. So every time I upload, we'll do I might start doing like a Monday night video for this solo thing and posting it later on, like on a Thursday or something. Hopefully the schedule's kind of flexing, everyone. Hopefully getting more content in, doing more videos and different things like that. If you like this layout, let me know. And so we're just playing with things. So schedule might flux a little bit, but hey, just, that's why you need to turn on the notifications, automatic downloads on Spotify and Apple. And hey, we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for joining us. For more information on how you can support the podcast, please visit anchor.fm/Bravo Zulu Podcast. The information, views, and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely of Joshua Moore and the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the DOD, DON, or those of the respected institutions or organizations. Thanks for joining us.